Right now, there's a massive claim flooding the internet that new AI tools can generate complex, high-fidelity web prototypes from absolute scratch in 10 minutes. While getting a site up that fast is mathematically true, raw velocity isn't actually the hardest part of modern web development anymore. The real trade-off you face today is between getting that lightning-fast digital result and keeping strict, granular control over a custom visual identity. A traditional UI workflow requires 3 days of labor, high costs, and heavy manual input pushing pixels on a canvas. Compare that to the new AI workflow. The metrics flip entirely: 10 minutes, minimal cost, and input consisting entirely of text prompting. The real benchmark for these tools is their ability to accurately execute a highly specific, complex design brief without defaulting to generic, off-the-shelf templates. To evaluate this exact trade-off between speed and control, we need an objective stress test. We're pitting two primary software contenders against each other: Lovable, a dedicated UI builder, and Anthropic's Claude Design, running their generalist Opus 4.7 model. To ensure a perfectly fair baseline, both platforms receive the exact same prompt simultaneously. Instead of typing a simple, vague instruction, we're forcing both AI models to process a dense, multi-layered brief. This includes a specific visual reference image and a detailed markdown context document. This heavy context payload forces the software into a corner. It has to make a choice: output a safe, pre-packaged layout, or do the hard work of interpreting a nuanced custom design language. The 10-minute generation window finally closes, and the results immediately show two divergent approaches to web design. On this side-by-side scorecard, Lovable built a clean, functional site, but defaulted to a standard templated aesthetic, like an average WordPress theme. Claude Design accurately replicated the specific aesthetic nuances and unique taste of the reference material. Lovable regressed to the mean because of its architecture. As a dedicated website builder, its underlying scaffolding relies on standard component libraries to guarantee the code will execute without breaking. Claude succeeded because it approaches the problem differently. As an advanced multimodal language model, its primary strength is context reasoning. It prioritizes the specific visual brief over standard web conventions. This exposes a direct trade-off. Prioritizing distinct brand aesthetics means stepping away from the safety of one-click website builders and relying on generalist models with superior reasoning capabilities. High-end results like these require a highly specific, strategic workflow that happens before the generation engine even starts. You cannot just type "make me a cool website" and expect agency-level results. This flowchart shows the exact test strategy. It requires 5 preliminary minutes using a research tool to strip a target reference website down into raw markdown context. This clean extraction gives the AI explicit structural constraints without confusing the generation engine with messy source code. This process shifts the daily job of a designer. You trade the manual labor of pushing pixels for the strategic, analytical work of prompt engineering inside a text editor. The machine handles the rapid execution, but the human must strictly define the architectural logic first. Generating high-fidelity work in minutes forces a reassessment of whether manual layout skills remain a competitive advantage in UI design. However, relying exclusively on AI generation without strong human curation will always result in a visually repetitive, boring internet. The barrier to entry for creating a functionally acceptable but visually basic and generic website is now officially zero. To survive in the software industry today, the new premium skill is the cultivation of taste. In this workflow, taste means sourcing unique reference materials, blending disjointed ideas, and having the critical eye to course-correct the machine's inevitable mistakes. AI hasn't eliminated the designer. It has eliminated the tedious busywork, elevating the designer to an art director who curates rather than creates. Let's translate these experimental results into a practical, actionable framework for your next software project. This quadrant chart maps two key variables: your immediate need for speed on the y-axis versus a bespoke visual identity on the x-axis. For time-poor founders validating a SaaS idea quickly, Lovable plots clearly in the top left quadrant. It wins this scenario because it delivers a clean, highly functional baseline with almost zero friction or advanced prompt engineering required. Conversely, if you are a senior designer or an agency pitching a unique brand experience to a client, Claude Design lands firmly in the bottom right quadrant. Lovable is the correct choice when you need immediate functional scaffolding. Claude is mandatory when you demand precise aesthetic control. Looking past this specific showdown, there is a broader trajectory for how web prototyping is evolving. The selection between these tools depends on which specific workflow trade-off you are willing to accept for your current project. Choosing the generic, high-speed route saves you vital execution time right now, but it restricts your brand identity tomorrow. Taking the bespoke route to achieve true agency-level design requires significant, unglamorous analytical labor before a single pixel is ever generated. As these generation engines inevitably blur together in capability, your only enduring competitive advantage will be your ability to provide unique, non-obvious context. The primary bottleneck in web development is no longer how fast you can build a site. The bottleneck is how clearly you can articulate your vision to the machine.